I could weep for this country. I really could. It saddens me greatly what's going on, what Keir Jong-un and his Marxist Labour government are doing to this beautiful island. It's not just them. It's the SNPs up north and Welsh Labour. I mean, they've just installed Mark Drakeford as their health minister down there. Woke wacky Wales. That's another video for another time. But where can we start again with Labour, apart from everything else that they've done? Well, Angela Rayner, the Deputy Labour leader, announced that she's backtracking on the policy of prioritising Brits for social housing. Instead, they will now be prioritising migrants. And on top of that, they will also backtrack on their policy not to give terrorists social housing. So they'll be getting them as well. So they will be ahead of people who have worked all their lives, paid into the system, taxes, etc., for social housing. And this is why people are angry. They're not angry that different coloured people exist. They are angry because our democratically elected government are prioritising other people before them. They're not far right. Switch the words far right to fed up, and that's it. But the left, they can't grasp with that. The middle class socialist twerps, they can't comprehend that at all, that people can think differently to them and it's valid concerns. They think they're evil Nazis and far right. That's where it stems from. It's sheer ignorance on their part that we have been labelled far right, when of course we're not. We're just fed up, aren't we? We're all fed up. We've had it up to here or here. It's just too much, and that's why people took to the streets. Now, I appreciate the fact that there was violence committed during these protests, and they were of course the minority, but there were decent citizens there as well, concerned citizens at these protests. They were just fed up, and yet they've been roped in and equally judged to be just as bad as those people, the idiots who started fighting with the police, and that's not fair, and we're fed up with that as well. And the way Keir Jong-un's government are prosecuting these people, it's unfair as well, and we're also fed up with that, because a guy got locked up the other day for 18 months for mocking a deity. He mocked Allah. 18 months for it. Now, does that come under blasphemy laws? Do we have blasphemy laws in this country now? If so, why? How? We weren't even asked, were we? Nobody asked us to vote on having blasphemy laws in this country. I thought we were a secular nation now. I thought religion had nothing to do with our laws, but there we go. Swings and roundabouts, I guess. And why are all these people pleading guilty to the charges brought to them? I mean, are they getting really crappy lawyers being provided to them by the state in order to ensure their conviction? Obviously, not everyone knows the law. And like I've always said, having been a prison officer for 11 years and through my experience, and as Abraham Lincoln, I think, was once quoted as saying, a person who represents himself in court has a fool for a client. And I've seen that become true. It really is true. So there we go. Keir Jong-un's government are putting other people before their own, and they're locking people up for insulting another faith's God. That's where we are now. It's 2024. As Katie Hopkins would say, it's batshit bonkers Britain. And it is batshit bonkers. I never thought I'd see this in my lifetime. Never once. Apparently we don't have freedom of speech in this country. We have freedom of expression, which is weird. I mean, that's a sketchy area in the law. But still, if we can't be free people in our own country, then we're screwed, aren't we? And if our own people are taking our freedoms away from us, then we're even more screwed. And what do? Other nations, socialist shitholes, they rise up, don't they? They get violent and they depose them. And quite frankly, things get worse. Do we need that here? No, I don't think I'd ever advocate for anything like that. We're not a wholly out of control, bankrupt socialist shithole. At least not yet anyway, but we'll see what happens after Labour finish their first term in office. But I guess we are lucky in one sense that we can try and vote these lunatics out in 4 or 5 years' time. just get them gone. But who's to replace them? Not the Tories. That'll be a vicious circle. It'll be the Tories, and after that, it'll be Labour. And that's why we're in this rut right now. Labour and Tories occupying the top two spots in politics, and have so for the past 100 years or so. I think the last time a different party, it was Lib Dems, and that was that during World War II or the 1920s? Correct me if I'm wrong. But none of those three parties can be trusted. It has to be reform. It really has to be reform. I think we should concentrate on voting in as many reform members into seats, into councils, in order to make them an effective opposition. And then hopefully, in the not too distant future, into government. They're the only party who can represent us, who say what we say, and so on. I think that's the only democratic way of doing it, just showing the world how we can fix our country democratically and peacefully. Because I promise you, if you go down that route, we'll end up like Venezuela or some other South African nation, which is just, I mean, is there a safe, stable South African nation? Not South African, South American? I don't know. Again, correct me in the comments, but yeah, all this, I could really weep for our nation, for this island. 700 odd illegal migrants crossed the channel since Sunday. It's now, what day is it today? Thursday. And they won't be turned back. They'll be given asylum. That's going to cost a lot more money. Keir Starmer's given billions to Zelensky every year. He's guaranteed him that. 14 million to protect a certain community's place of worship. Countless millions for overseas climate emergency aid, and we're still housing illegal migrants to the tune of billions, and yet the country's infrastructure is on its knees. There's no money for anything. Wow, I could cry. I really could cry. It makes me angry. A lot of people are angry, and it's quite sad. But that's the solution. I can't endorse rising up. I can't do that. I really can't. I've been to countries when I was in the army where they do rise up, and it doesn't end up well. It really doesn't. So, yeah. Sorry to end on a crappy note. I know this is a sober video, but that's how it is. That's how it really is. That's what I think anyway. And there we go. I'm past 49. Thanks for watching. Remember to subscribe, hit the like button, share my stuff everywhere. And until the next time, Roger Trouticles.